Have you ever thought about reviewing a manuscript for a journal, but then decided against it? Imagine this scenario. You pour yourself a cup of your favorite coffee and settle into a morning of emails. You come across one from a journal with the subject line something like, "Please review a manuscript." First thought, if you're like me, this can't be real. I am too early in my career to be a peer reviewer. Second thought, I don't even know how to review a manuscript. Delete. If this sounds remotely like a situation you've experienced, this vlog is for you. I'm Jacqueline Portelli-Tremont, a general surgery resident, MPH student, and a peer reviewer for JAMDA, the official journal of AMDA, the Society for Post-Acute and Long-Term Care Medicine. JAMDA is a leading peer-reviewed publication that focuses on older adults and aging, especially practical information and research directly applicable to professionals who provide post-acute and long-term care. In this 3-part series for junior researchers and clinicians, I'm going to bust some common peer review myths, share practical tips for reviewing a manuscript, and show you how to register to be a peer reviewer for JAMDA. Let's get started. I'm here to tell you that, like me, you too can be a reviewer. You don't need to be a tenured professor or have a 30-page CV to review a manuscript. Even as junior faculty, medical residents, postdoctoral fellows, or anyone in between, your clinical and lived experiences are valuable. And chances are, somewhere along the way in those years of education and training, you learned how to think critically and carefully appraise a document based on its merits, potential impact, and general relevance. Guess what? That's it. That's all you need to review a manuscript. Oh, and by the way, those lived experiences you bring to the table, they're super valuable too. JAMDA's audience, like the audience of all clinical journals, is for people like you and me. We may be young, but we're the next generation of medicine and science, and it's important for our thoughts to be shared. I can guess what you're thinking. I know geriatrics and gerontology. Am I really the right person to review a manuscript on the effects of the gut microbiome on memory in elephants? And the answer to that would probably be no. But that's common sense. You're going to be able to weed out review requests that are legitimate and reputable from ones that aren't germane. But speaking of elephants in rooms, you may be thinking that reviewing a manuscript takes way too long and you're way too busy. And although you probably do have a lot on your plate, reviewing a manuscript well takes a lot less time than you think. For example, you can complete a review for a standard length manuscript in the time it takes to cook dinner for 2, finish your favorite Peloton stack, or read your toddler their favorite book. Hi, Savannah. Okay, so probably not the last one. Baby books are really short, but you get the idea. Being a peer reviewer also has a lot of benefits. You can put it on your CV because it counts as a professional and educational experience. In fact, at some institutions, peer reviewing is a consideration for promotion. Another benefit of peer review is that it can actually make you a better researcher, critical consumer, and clinician. Reading emerging findings can provide valuable insights and help you think more deeply about what you already know and what you don't know. All right, that's all for now, but join me next time to learn some practical peer reviewing skills. Bye. Now let's talk about exactly what makes a good review. Here are 5 JAMDA approved tips for doing an honors level peer review. First, impressions. Does the research seem novel and important to post-acute and long-term care or aging-related issues? The introduction. The setup to any story is perhaps the most important part. Do the authors make the purpose of the study clear and highlight the significance of the topic? Is the gap in the literature clearly stated? That is, do the authors do a good job at explaining why the study was undertaken in the first place? The methods. Specific methods will vary from study design to study design, but many of the issues remain consistent. First, are the methods clearly written? Pro tip, if you have to reread a methods section several times to understand the gist of the study, the answer is probably not. For me, the methods is the crux of the manuscript, so I spend a lot of time reviewing this part. If anything needs clarification in your opinion, make that recommendation. The results. Are they organized in a way that make sense to the reader? And note here that this is subjective and that's totally okay. Are the tables legible? Is the correct information reported in the text? Are p-values, confidence intervals, odds ratios, so on and so forth, all reported appropriately and in a way that you understand? For example, if the paper presents a beta, was its meaning explained? If a typical reader needs something translated to lay language, recommend it. The discussion. I focus on 2 aspects in the discussion section of a manuscript: the limitations and the implications. Remember learning how to critically appraise a document? This should sound familiar. What could be improved upon in the study? And if the authors are unlikely to be able to address it in a round of revisions, at the very least, what should be acknowledged in this section? And lastly, how does this paper apply to clinical practice? That is, how do the authors suggest we interpret the paper? And don't forget, you're JAMDA's target audience, so your review is relevant. If you have concerns about a manuscript, your comments can improve it. And be assured that the editors review your comments before they forward them to the authors. If you're really off base, they'll let the authors know what to focus on in their revision. Another tip is to seek advice from more experienced mentors if you'd like some guidance as you're getting started as a reviewer. Looking for more? There are plenty of practical tips available on JAMDA.com, a guide for reviewers. Thanks for watching. I will see you soon for the final and highly anticipated installment. Bye. Hi everyone. We made it to part 3 of our 3-part series. We've learned a lot already. We learned that junior faculty and trainees are assets to editors and peer-reviewed journals. We also learned that peer reviewing is an achievement worthy of hanging on the refrigerator next to your daughter's finger painting. Or, just add it to your CV. So, what's next? Register to be a peer reviewer for JAMDA. Let me show you how. Start by going to JAMDA.com. Click on the drop-down menu, choose Authors and Reviewers, and then click Register to Review.
This will take you to our editorial manager page where you can follow the directions for register now.
Still a bit unsure? JAMDA has great reviewer support, and take it from me, the editors are knowledgeable, approachable, and an overall really good resource for novice reviewers. JAMDA doesn't expect perfection. Embrace the process and the learning that comes along with peer review. If you're interested in being a peer reviewer at all, JAMDA is definitely the place to get started, get your feet wet, and grow. Please reach out to the managing editor or editor-in-chief of JAMDA at the contact information below if you have any questions or want to learn more about JAMDA and the peer review process. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media accounts, and be sure to check out our monthly JAMDA On The Go podcast, available on the JAMDA.com website. Thanks so much, y'all. It's been fun talking to people just like me.